Hello guys, today's topic is boxing, boxing in general really. I was a big fight fan. I've had a go at boxing myself professionally. Before I was going for my licence, I had to spar two professionals, which I did, and then unfortunately in 2009, pending a brain scan, I got ill, and that was the end of me turning professional. But anyway, getting back onto the topic about boxing. Long gone are the days where you'd have 5, 6 great fights on one bill. It's run really poorly now. We've got fighters promoting themselves. We've got promoters rigging fights. We've got promoters throwing a stupid card on, charging £30 a fight, and the main person heading the bill is probably someone who's 36, made a comeback, and they're selling tickets at 30 to £40 basic school chair seats in a hall near you, and it's a joke. And then we'll go back to the pay-per-view, which started years ago, probably because of a fighter called Mike Tyson, which was a fighter I would happily pay to see on a good or bad day. Now, there would be no such thing as pay-per-view in boxing. If the first time it was ever invented, no one paid for it, then they would have had to sell the fights to people like Sky Sports, BBC, Channel 5. But we took the bait, and we was happy to pay £10 for the fight. And back then we used to get a couple of decent fights on the card, and now we get one with a bunch of journeymen that look like they've just been drafted in from a 3-day training session, and leading up to the big fight. And then we get the big fight, and it's a marvellous scandal. We have to go back only a few weeks ago, Pacquiao v Bradley. That is probably the worst decision in boxing I've ever seen, apart from the Holyfield and Lennox Lewis draw, and I'm a big Holyfield fan, so that's just one thing why I'm annoyed with the sport. Second is the fights are atrocious, what they're putting out there. You've got Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather not fighting each other. I mean, which clowns are running this sport? Because if it was someone really who cared about the fight fans, who cared about the boxing industry, they would have demanded these to fight, or revoke the license, give them a ban. But no, Mayweather's running boxing, demanding blood tests, demanding this, demanding that, and eventually we never seen the fight. Now we've seen a young Timothy Bradley, unbeaten, 28 years old. We've seen Pacquiao on the decline, virtually getting to retiring. And obviously they're going to give the guy who's going to make more money for the sport the title, which they did with David Haye and Valuev. David Haye didn't do much that fight, apart from run around the ring like an headless chicken, land one big shot, nearly knocked Valuev out. I wouldn't even say knocked him out, shaked him. Okay, he won the title. Now, if anyone was going into anyone's backyard to steal a title like that, and they were similar ages, and they were both box office, the champion would have won it. But no, David Haye took the title, and then he defended it against a bunch of morons. Who did he fight? You know, Monty Barrett. Jumps in the ring before the fight, nearly knocks himself out. Fair play to Monty Barrett. He got hit on the head about 8 times, back of the head, went down. The referee classed them as knockdowns. The minute Monty Barrett hit David Haye, it was judged back of the head, and David Haye had an eternity to get up. Going back to Ricky Hatton, now he's promoting. It's a bit of a joke, because obviously home side fighters are getting results. We only have to go far back as I watched Michael Brody against Alexander from London. Alexander got Brody down 3 times. The fight never got stopped. Brody got Mark Alexander down, and Mark Alexander got to his feet, and the referee waved the fight off. So a lot of these home small, I would call it small, because Ricky Hatton, he's not your Oscar De La Hoya. He's not like what's his name, Bob Arum. He's not these big promoters, so he's throwing these small backyard fights, and all the fights are getting home decisions, even if they don't deserve it. I seen one guy in his first fight get dropped. He was a Ricky Hatton fighter. In a 4-round fight, he managed to get a draw. So, if it's not one thing with boxing, it's another. The politics are so bent now. It's not really a sport with much trust at the moment. We only have to go. I'm not a UFC fan, far from it. I think too much grappling on the floor makes it not a good spectacle to watch. But we only have to go back a few weeks ago, and we've got Podolski fighting Bob Zapp. Bob Zapp, former K1 champion with a great fighting background. Podolski, world's strongest man. 3 wins, 2 losses. Where in the world of boxing would you see that happen? You wouldn't. You'd see him fighting journeyman, yeah? And then you'd see him towards the end of the career take 2 or 3 big fights on, have a couple of final paydays, and that'll be it. So, I don't deem any fight now box office. There's too many clowns in it. Victor Ortiz is another clown. Basically, it's just boxing has died. The only people who say it's not died are the die-hard fans or boxers themselves. But for me, boxing died about 2 or 3 years ago. Even maybe died after the 90s. I mean, to match the 90s, you know, it'll take some doing. Maybe not even in this generation. Anyway, peace out. Don't watch trash. Don't pay for it. Peace.